It is often said there are only two kinds of people in this world, those who know and those who don't. I would expand on this by pointing out that there are actually three kinds of people, those who know, those who don't know, and those who don't care to know. Members of the last group are the kind of people I would characterize as sheeple. Sheeple are members of a culture or society who are not necessarily oblivious to the reality of their surroundings. They may have been exposed to valuable truths on numerous occasions. However, when confronted with facts contrary to their conditioned viewpoint, they become aggressive and antagonistic in their behavior, seeking to dismiss and attack the truth by attacking the messenger. So-called mainstream media outlets go out of their way to reinforce this aggressive mindset by establishing the illusion that the sheeple are the majority and that the majority perception, which has been constructed by the MSM, is the only correct perception. Many liberty movement activists have noted recently that there has been a surge in media propaganda aimed at painting the survival, preparedness, and liberty cultures as fringe, reactionary, extremist, conspiracy-minded, etc. Rarely do they give focus to the logical arguments regarding why their subjects become preppers, nor do they choose subjects who can explain as much in a coherent manner. This is a very similar tactic used by the establishment media at large-scale protests. They generally attempt to interview the least eloquent and easiest to ridicule person present and make that person a momentary mascot for the entire group and the philosophy they hold dear. The goal is to give sheeple comfort that they are normal, and that anyone who steps outside the bounds of the mainstream is abnormal and a welcome target for the collective. It would appear that the life of a sheeple is a life of relative bliss. The whole of the establishment machine seems engineered to make them happy and the rest of us miserable. But is a sheeple's existence the ideal? Are they actually happy in their ignorance? Are they truly safe within the confines of the system? Here are just a few reasons why you should feel sorry for them. A sheeple gathers his entire identity from the group. He acts the way he believes the group wants him to act. He thinks the way he believes the group wants him to think. All of his ideas are notions pre-approved by the mainstream. All of his arguments and talking points are positions he heard from the media, and he has never formed an original opinion in his life. Without the group telling him what to do, the average sheeple is lost and useless. When cast into a crisis situation requiring individual initiative, he panics or becomes apathetic, waiting for the system to come and save him rather than taking care of himself. Sheeple are so dependent on others for every aspect of their personality and their survival that when faced with disaster, they are the most likely people to curl up and die. Sheeple are not only reliant on the collective for their identity and their survival, they also need a steady supplement of approval from others in order to function day to day. When a sheeple leaves his home, he is worried about how his appearance is perceived, how his attitude is perceived, how his lifestyle is perceived, and how his opinions are perceived. Everything he does from the moment his day begins revolves around ensuring that the collective approves of him. Even his acts of rebellion are often merely approved forms of superficial individualism, reliant on style rather than substance. This approval becomes a kind of emotional drug to which the sheeple is addicted. He will never make waves among the herd or stand out against any aspect of the herd worldview, because their approval sustains and cements his very existence. To take collective approval away from him would like cutting off a heroin junkie supplier. To be shunned by the group would destroy him psychologically. Because sheeple spend most of their waking moments trying to appease the collective, they rarely, if ever, have the energy or inclination to create something of their own. Sheeple do not make astonishing works of art. They do not achieve scientific discovery. They do not make history through philosophical or ideological innovation. They remain constant spectators in life, watching change from the bleachers, caught in the tides of time and tossed about like satellites of Pacific Ocean garbage from Fukushima. The destiny of the common sheeple is entirely determined by the outcome of wars and restorations waged by small groups of aware individuals, some of them good, some of them evil. Sheeple have no passion. If you draw all of your beliefs from what the collective deems acceptable, then it is difficult, if not impossible, to become legitimately passionate about them. Sheeple have little to no personal connection to their ideals or principles, so they become mutable, empty, and uninspired. They tend to turn toward cynicism as a way to compensate, making fun of everything, especially those who are passionate about something. The only ideal that they will fight viciously for is the collective itself, because who they are is so intertwined with the survival of the system. To threaten the concept of the collective is to threaten the sheeple's existence by extension. Sheeple are useless. The average sheeple does not learn how to be self-reliant because it is considered abnormal by the mainstream to be self-reliant. The collective and the state are the provider. They are mother and father. Sheeple have full faith that the system will protect them from any and all harm. When violence erupts, they cower and hide instead of defending themselves and others. When large-scale catastrophe strikes, they either sit idle waiting for the state to save them or they join yet another irrational mob. They do not take proactive measures because they never felt the need to learn how. Consider this. Why do the mainstream and the people subject to it care if others prepare for disaster or end their dependency on the establishment? Why are they so desperate to attack those of us who find our own path? If the system is so effective and the collective so correct in its methodology, then individualists are hurting only themselves by walking away, right? But for the sheeple, successfully self-reliant individuals become a constant reminder of their own inadequacies. They feel that if they cannot survive without the system, no one can survive without the system, and they will make sure that individualists never prove otherwise. "You didn't build that" becomes the sheeple motto, as they scratch and scrape like spoiled children, trying to dismantle the momentum of independent movements and ventures in non-participation.